All right, I think we're live. Let me just do an audio check here. Yep, muted myself. Sounds good. So it's the same beat, the same drum beat as before. I'm getting fed up with just the content and the assumptions these people peddle. It's I don't know what to. It's just like beating your head against a brick wall, but it's funny the self destruction or self-defeating mechanisms these people bring upon themselves without realizing it. It's like your car is has what is it? It's misaligned. So when you're holding the steering wheel, the car just drifts to the side of the road, and instead of compensating to bring the car back to the center, you just fucking you yank on it. You just crank that wheel, and you just go way off the road. It's like instead of getting your car, compensating for the misalignment of the axle or the steering, you just you go the opposite way. Um, it's the same drum beat these people beat. It's what is that? Ben Franklin doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Um, Still on, I drop in or I watch other people's content. Good to have an open mind, right? Don't want to be in an echo chamber. Well, sometimes an echo chamber is the lesser of two evils if everybody else is mad as a hatter. Um, these people don't realize, like I said, I talked about that 3P model, and one of those was, projection. What image or visage are you projecting of yourself? And these retards, man, and that's what they are. They got shit for brains. You try to puff up your chest like you're some big fucking fat bird in a rookery. Um, who is that guy? Ramsey Paul, you know, conservative, right wing commentator. Um, and these people say the dumbest things. It's like Bill Cosby, I guess this was before, he made all those get slipped roofies or to all those women, but kids say the darndest things. Uh, right wing commentators say the darndest things. And it was like just the same message that these guys, Roosh. This is what they reinforce some old archetype that has been gone for like hundreds of years. Like, and they don't realize, or maybe they do, controlled opposition and whatnot. They don't. So it is very possible they are aware, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Just say they're clumsy buffoons, staggering through a bull in a china shop, staggering down the aisles drunkenly. All right. The same refrain. This false bravado, this false machismo, like Ramsey Paul was some. I don't use Twitter, but something like what should every kitchen have or something, and he said something like, "Oh, a woman in the kitchen." Like, well, like I don't know like Family Feud. Name things you find in a kitchen or you should find in a kitchen. A woman. Ha 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 ha. It's like you do realize when you say stupid shit like that, you're not helping anybody. Okay, and the same thing with Roosh. Like he opines for some weird world where the father's consent must be had. The father selects the suitable partners for his daughter. You don't realize okay. You think Pops is going to betroth his precious to a truly masculine male? Okay, do you think Pops wants to be betrothing his daughter to some big big masculine male that puts Pops to shame, that makes Pops feel like a little snail, test tube gub gub snail man? No. Okay, I remember I only met one girl's parents, and I remember her father saying, "Oh, he's a lot taller than you said." And it's like, you people, oh, you think fathers want to pass off their daughter to some big fuck monster? That's not the image fathers want of their daughters, okay? And your retarded way of thinking of uh letting the parents have influence. That's why you get instances like Squirmy and Grubs. I guarantee you, that woman's parents are happy as a pig in shit. Oh, we raised her right. She's a torso rider. No, she overlooks things like not having arms or legs or being able to contribute meaningfully. We've raised a good Christian daughter. That's who Pops likes to see. Pops likes to feel like the man. Okay, Pops doesn't like to be dethroned, thrown off of his mountain. So he likes to see his daughters with little snail people, little snail men. Uh, you've heard of mailmen. Well, these are snail men. Uh, Fathers don't want to see you know their daughters with some big alpha masculine male. Okay, so if you had such a betrothal system, it would be a fucking race to the bottom. Okay, which is pretty much already what's happening, but it would be even worse, I maintain. And just this other advice, like, if you're attracted to a man, it's not good. This is the advice he gives, that if a woman is attracted to a man instantly, he's no good. He's a player. And again, with these people echo the same, what is it, mendacious, malicious arguments. Good-looking men just want to fuck. They just want to fuck you. Mm, okay, so we're going to assume that ugly men have a heart of gold. It's like that Neil Young song, Heart of Gold. No, sometimes a turd is just a turd. And this type of thinking, man, it is so pernicious. The good-looking men, they just want to fuck you. Uh, Meanwhile, the little gimp in a little gimper, the little gimper, he's got a heart of gold. Why do you ascribe virtue to ugliness? That's what these people do. Uh, but it's so self-destructive. This empty chest beating. Oh, women should be in the kitchen. I mean, think about it. You already cook for yourself, don't you? Right? You already cook for yourself. So you do your own. I mean, I cook. I do my own laundry. I don't need anybody to do those things for me. I do need companionship, or I would like companionship. But these people, and it's funny, not one of them has a fucking job. Not one of them has I mean, you want to talk Ward Cleaver with his fucking briefcase going off to the office? Not one of these people can maintain a fucking job. They're all misfits cast to the fucking four winds, drifting, drifting like dandelion fluff from one eastern shithole to another. It's like it's just moving down pretty soon. They're going to be in fucking Kosovo, Albania. Um, it's like, I don't know how many more shithole countries Europe can supply for these escaped crabs to scuttle into. I mean, you want to talk about a woman being in the kitchen. I mean, how about you do those things together? Like alternate, or hey, you go grocery shopping together. How about that, right? I mean, isn't that the point? Like, you enjoy each other's company, so anything is fun. Yeah, well, these people bring so much upon themselves because the 3P model, uh, portrayal by the media, projection by the male, and perception by the female. Um, I mean, I don't get these people. I mean, I start to wonder if these people are 2 feet tall. They're just yammering and yammering that it's the good-looking tall men who get all the women. Not from what I've seen. All right, I have. I would be elated if I saw a good-looking man with a good-looking woman. All right. I would say, hey, there's hope for me. And instead, it's just the weirdest goofballs. I saw a couple days ago walking out of some restaurant. It was a very attractive white girl with a quadroon, an octoroon. I don't know. He was gray. He was gray like an alien. So I don't know. I got some Negroes who listen to this channel, and from their avatars, they're black. I mean, they appear to be full Negro. This was gray. I don't know who wants to classify him. Who wants him? Who wants him? You know, who wants this 1/8, 1/4 octoroon? I mean, gray skin, ashen skin. Okay, I'm not seeing the Tyrones or the Niggersauruses with the women. I'm seeing the goofballs. I would be flabbergasted if I ever saw a tall, good-looking man with a woman. Okay, I'm not seeing it. Oh, good. It looks like the chat's working. I thought it was defective. Missing one important detail in the dating dynamic. There is a split. What we're currently seeing, and then the women that only want masculine men if they're in the top percent. I mean, again, what do you mean by top percent? Top percent in terms of earning potential. Oh, and that's another thing. People want to advise that oh, you're going to have a fatherly figure intervening, and he will betroth his daughter. Well, you do know that nowadays you're kind of not in a position monetarily or financially in a fiduciary capacity to provide until you're probably about 30 or 35. So we're kind of this is a catch 22. Okay, now what would probably make sense is what the Asians do, which is they pair up at an age when they're both still working towards something, rather than the white way of doing things, which is jam two fully developed things together. Okay, at age 30, 32, try to slam them together. Okay. Meanwhile, the Asians, they went, they developed together. It isn't, well, we work in isolation with a curtain down between us, and then we'll come together at age 35 and try to make things work. Okay, so that's problematic. Um, let's see. Heart of gold. Yeah, we need to rewrite the lyrics. Been a searcher for a torso to ride. No, it's not shit. I never see any. Again, I think these people either have terribly low self-esteem, distorted body image, or what the fuck. But if I ever saw a male taller than me with a woman, or as tall, I think I'd flip my lid. I'd be shocked. I'd be gobsmacked. It's always a goofus. Always a fucking goofus. And it's not even the males of the other race. It's not niggersaurus. Okay, fucking pulling down the high voltage lines, trying to get out of the pen. It's fucking gray skinned alien quadroon. No, it's not just that they're smaller than me. Their facial expressions, their timidity. The fucking woman holds the door for these goofuses. Goofus just sits there. Woman's driving. Woman's driving. You know how many times I have never seen, as of late, a male under the age of, I don't know, 60 driving with a woman in the passenger seat. It's always the woman, as the wheel man. That's what it's called, being the wheel man, the driver. And sack of potatoes sitting in the passenger seat. It's funny, man. All the time, all the time I bought a car, first time used car, used my life savings, and ever since I've had a car, didn't hasn't done me one lick of good. So all these people like this outmoded way of thinking, like, oh, you got to have a car. Why? Every couple I see, it's the fucking woman driving. It's the woman driving. She's behind the wheel. Okay, we're talking under the age of 40. Okay, it's not the man behind the wheel. The man is just sitting there passively, passively. That's what I mean by a goofus. So no, it's not just the size, it's everything. These people have really no redeeming features, no redeeming qualities. I don't see that it's a culling movement for incels because again, I don't see it that it's the bottom 20% or bottom 80% who are not getting women. I think it's a dysgenic trend. Okay, I from what I've seen, women want unaccomplished, physically unattractive, easily controlled, passive males of any race. All right. Um, so it's a dysgenic effect, but be interesting to see how ugly humanity gets in the next couple generations. I suppose that'll be interesting. But this advice that people give, it's so again, I mean, I don't know how you can reconcile be more alpha, be more masculine with actual evidence of who we see with women. And I don't care about catfishing experiments done online. I mean, look around who's going out to dinner, who's going out shopping together. These are relationships, right? Okay. Um, as far as then what are what are we left with? We're left with propositioning. Oh, did you cold approach? Did you cold approach? No, no. I mean, again, and people take it to extremes. Like Roosh was saying, oh, dating is gay. Dating as a convention, social convention, originated with homosexuals. No, I don't think so. Okay, people courted even in what the Victorian era. Now, perhaps the man would go calling and would knock upon the woman's door. But they did court, they did date, and they went out for a stroll on the promenade or whatever. They certainly did. I mean, fucking look at a impressionist painting for hell's sake. Okay, it's nothing but couples with parasols strolling along the promenade, overlooking the stream. Oh, Manet, Monet. For fuck's sake, it's from 1875. But no, things like the nightlife. Now that does have its origins with the or propositioning, cold approaching. Now that did arise with the gays. Okay, propositioning, cold approaching, meaning hookups. That is something straight out of the gay playbook. Okay, um, sex with strangers, sex on a first date. Yes, that is something out of the gay lifestyle handbook. Dating, no, no. Even in the antebellum South, you would have now maybe there would be some type of mm, overview, or the parents would play more of a role, but they certainly did date. You weren't married off to somebody you had never interacted with. Um, they certainly did court. I mean, oh fuck's sake, do you people not even read Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen? I mean, it was written what 18 what 1803, 1820, something like that, 1814. I mean, you're talking more than 200 years ago. It's a whole novel about a woman being dating or trying to be in a relationship with what Mr. Darcy, right? And they would go to what were they called? Soirees, social things where people were dancing, okay, lit by kerosene or oil or whatever. They had more of a fucking social life 200 years ago than people do today. Okay, and that was the whole premise of what Mr. Bennett, wasn't that it? He had like six daughters or something, and he was trying to marry them off. Well, they weren't married off to strangers. They went, what was it, Jane or Elizabeth Bennet? They would all go to these soirees. Okay, watch the fucking movie if reading the book's too difficult. Oh, Oh yeah, work on yourself, pursue an interest. That seems like you mean interest? You mean killing time, running out the clock? Oh, bonus points if it's a extra expensive hobby, so it contributes to the economy. You know, international travels very expensive. You don't want to do domestic travel, sleeping in a car. No, no, no. That's not what keeps the wheels and gears of this machine are greased with blood. Yeah, I don't think we're seeing the schlubby hubby that ballooned his waist size ballooned, and he had a paunch develop as he let himself go years afterward. No, these people were uh, swibs and schlubby hubbies from get go, from day one, from Jump Street. Let's see here. Yeah, again, meaningful. If you know, meaningful is such a what is this subjective term, and that's when you get into what the existentialists like what is it Jean-Paul Sartre, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Oh, 5 feet tall figures this moral relativist was fucking 5 feet tall. Figured. What was his thing, right? The existential choice. Well, there's no objective truth, so you have to create your own. Create your own. Just be a just be a snarky gay playwright, novelist, political activist, and biographer. That's meaningful, isn't it? Just be a just come up with your own meaning, right? Because there is no objective truth, right? Just come up with your own. What did this fag come up with? Oh, be it write plays. Oh, okay, write plays and novels. Oh, yeah, what some smug fuck what will try to peruse for his lit class 70 years later. Mazel tov. The philosophy of existentialism. Oh, I guess we have to come up with our own meaning. As soon as you do that, there is no meaning. I'm not opposed to the concept of friends. I had friends in high school. I certainly, yeah. We had birthday parties or sleepovers. You'd be playing, Grand Theft Auto and stuff. But that dried up. You know, I didn't play video games much, so kind of drifted apart. But even in university, I had a few male acquaintances, but they were useless. What is the term? Useless as tits on a boar. Uh, and the only people, like I said, it's never anybody who can help help me. It's always somebody who's even in a worse position than I am. It's like barnacles attaching themselves to a big whale. Big whale can't do anything about it. Barnacle's just stuck on its underside. Can't get them off. No, because these violent somebody says take action. These violent outbursts are counterproductive, you know. So if anybody is, thinking of that route, these things are always counterproductive, whatever it is. Okay, it, it doesn't cast in a sympathetic light the perpetrator. It certainly doesn't. It makes it even harder to for people to have any whatever compassion or consideration for these types when if they go that route. with violent acts. So it's counterproductive. Okay, whatever the act was, big, small, it always had the opposite effect of what the perpetrator intended. Um, it never once led to the what the person thought. Okay. Um, I mean, some of these people were delusional. What Manassian thought he'd be kickstarting a revolution. The same thing with the Columbine kids. Same thing with Timothy McVeigh. He thought how did he actually get? How was he labeled by a monster? For his actions. He certainly didn't cast in a sympathetic light his views or anything like that. So it's counterproductive. Absolutely. Uh, yeah. Now something like that. How about doing your best to find a girl to have kids with and raise them the best you can? Now that's not what an existentialist would say. And again, when people say prepared to fight what? I mean, this thing is it's like a fish trying to fight the water. You're immersed in it. You're surrounded by it. It's not a clearly defined adversary. I mean, it's the medium itself. It's all around you. How are you going to lash out blindly, like a like some wounded animal with a stuck with a spear? It just lashes out blindly in its death throes. I'll tell you what is not helping. What is not improving things is the chest beating or the bravado brought to you by pretty much everybody. I mean, I don't think there's anybody who offers up on, aside from myself and uh, the narrative that they offer up is the same old shit, the same hackneyed stuff that a return to whatever. Yeah, have fathers decide who gets to date their little schweetums. I guarantee you it will be nothing but snail men in wheelchairs. Okay, because that's the way that Pops gets to still feel like a man. You think Pops wants to open the door and then he looks all the way up, he cranes his little chicken neck up. Oh, okay, that's not what Pops wants. Pops doesn't want to picture his little Schweetums being impaled by some big fuck monster. Okay, so he's gonna go with harmless little test tube, Gub Gub Snail Man. Oh, he seems like a nice fellow. He seems awfully sweet. Have you noticed even these characteristics? A lot of these dating matchmaking sites, right? They come up with their artificial intelligence algorithm to match people on different facets of their personality. Have you actually read the classifications or the criteria on which people are matched? They're bizarre traits like understanding, compassion. These are not male traits whatsoever. Okay, are you on the market for a man, or are you on the market for a fucking labradoodle? Uh, these are not traits like in none of these are traits like creativity, uh, whatever, sense of humor, things like that. No, sense of romance. No, it's traits that these little goofballs have selected. Okay, because they fail the criteria. Okay, it's like nobody comes up with an IQ test that proves they're a retard. Okay, so this what is it? This the Stanford Binet IQ test. Well, the people who develop those tests, it tests a certain type of intelligence, and it proved that they, educated Victorian Englishmen or Frenchmen were very intelligent. You wouldn't come up with an IQ test that proves you're a retard. And so you have these losers, and that's what they are. They try to they try to change the script, or they try to change the criteria. Well, how do you assess a potential partner? Partner? What trustworthiness? And just like weird other traits that really don't apply to humans at all. Or it would be a weird thing to select somebody on. And it was like, what are the traits? Empathy? Empathy. You mean, do I cry if I see a stranger? Why I mean, that's bizarre. Having empathy for your loved ones. Now that makes absolute sense. But that's not what we see. When people talk empathy, they mean empathy for the fucking bum on the street, panhandling, some fucking stranger. Okay? But at the same time, they don't like close family ties, right? And like I said, it's that free and easy kind of love. You see this all the time. Somebody's husband suddenly dies. Sheryl Sandberg, you know, her husband cracked his head open, uh, running on a treadmill, and she's, what is she? The chief something officer at Facebook, billionaire. Lean in. She's at work the next day on TV. Well, time to move on. The same thing you've known I've known other in a professional capacity. Some woman, her husband dies. She's at work within the week. And no, but she has to. She has to provide for her kids. Who else now that the husband's gone? People are not. This is not Dickensian England with the Hulk ships moored off the River Thames. Well, if you don't pay your bills, you're going to the Hulk. You're going to the Hulk ship, the prison moored off the coast. No, stupid. Okay, this obsession with pursuing the shekels. Well, I can't mourn now. I've got to. If as my children will start to starve as soon as I stop bringing home the bacon. No, that's the kind of empathy that we have, where it's easy come, easy go when it comes to your life partner. But we're supposed to get all teared up when it's some sob story about some Jew being transported from one death camp to another. I didn't know they bounced around like it was a fucking ch- chain of Benihanas. Well, Auschwitz wasn't to their liking. Let's try Buchenwald. Let's get caught up here in the chat. Uh-oh. Somebody says, I think the problem is a lot of you guys fall for that women are goddesses crap, so you all feel inferior to them. Mm, well, I think there's again, is it wrong to to seek out or desire that there be innocence in the world? These other people, they're quite cynical. They're like, yeah, everybody's just fucking in the yeah, just like dirty fornicator, just fucking in the alleyway. That's all we are, just a bunch of monkeys fucking. Well, some of us have some upward striving, I guess. Instead of well, what the monkeys do it, the monkeys do it. Can't argue with that. Let me get caught up here. Yeah, you see women with males that are. I mean, let's say these couples are not looks matched. Okay. Again, women. It would be better if women were acting on an emotional response. Then society wouldn't be so fucked up. Instead, women are overriding their emotions or having their emotions impaired through birth control. Now, taking hormonal disruptors is probably doing something to you. It'd be like, if a man goes on a cycle of roids, he's going to be more, likely to, get into an altercation. He's going to be more, snap. He's going to snap at people. He's going to be very short tempered, right? Well, in a similar way, pumping yourself full of progesterone probably has some effects. But if women did go for the males they actually found attractive, I don't think we'd be seeing such a fucked up society. Instead, they override their attraction. I'm not saying they don't find, a certain body type or height, etc., physically attractive. I'm saying they don't act on it. I'm saying they override that by saying, he's a player. In fact, that's what the women think, and that's what the guys think. So if you have guys saying, well, good looking men, so called chads, they just want to fuck you. Imagine what the women are thinking. If that's what guys are thinking, that, oh yeah, good looking men, they got options, so why would they want to be in a why would they want to be in a monogamous relationship? I mean, do we have to explain that? We have to explain that why somebody doesn't want to go catch some AIDS every night. But I don't know if it's a strategy on the part of these people to, again, poison the ear collectively and say, psst, psst, that good-looking guy, he's a player. Don't date him. He's gonna cheat on you. Go date test tube gub gub snail man. He wouldn't cheat on you. He can't. You got to move him around. He's like a rag doll. Um, Women are conscious of the perception, the portrayal that and again, it doesn't help when you have a good-looking guy and he's fucking incel and I can get women, and they're just talking about hookers and prostitutes and all this shit. Again, that is a very bad portrayal that you're sending out there into the ether. Um, but women want to feel comfortable in relationships, so they date down. They want to have the upper hand. They want to be more educated. They want to be more physically fit. They want to be more attractive. So they date down. They do it as a tactic. Okay. It's like you don't enter if you're going to play Twisted Metal or some, Destruction Derby, you wouldn't enter with a Lamborghini. You would enter with a, broken ass, uh, rusty ice cream truck, that you don't care about. Let it get banged up. Who cares? Mm. I'm gonna get caught up here. Getting your LTC is more important than a diploma or degree these days. What is LTC? Isn't that a Chinese telecom company that makes Obama phones? Whatever. Well, what I'm saying is a step toward the solution is adjust. You can't do much about the portrayal by the media, but you can, certainly not give them ammunition to use against you, which means, you know, don't stare down pugnaciously toothless old Arapaho Indians wrapped in their fucking shaman shawls. As they're quivering and quaking about my trail of tears and my wounded knee, and you're jutting your chin out smugly, as they bust your asses in from the fucking private Christian school. Ugh, good optics. Yes, that's what it is. Overdeveloped empathy for unfamiliar people, the others, and underdeveloped empathy for actual loved ones. And then they'll cite something from the Bible to allegedly support this, and it'll be what the person who was it, Lot? He offered up his daughters to the drunken mob, but said, "Leave these strangers alone." Yeah, right. That makes sense. Yeah, again, people will again, they bring this upon themselves. Like they complain, "Oh, of a girl who's inexperienced." Like, what type of expectations do you have for the bedroom? They want to do some. You want a woman who's gonna be doing some nasty shit. Okay, how about just regular sex before we start going crazy and bonkers? If you ignore a woman, she doesn't even notice it. Okay. Again, these fallacies. Oh yeah, women love being ignored. Yeah, right. Yeah, they can't help but call you. So a total stranger knows your number, huh? Yes, I see more and more good-looking guys on their own in bars and pubs here in London, and it's the plain average guy with the hot girls. Yes, that's what I see too. That's what, and then that's Steve Hoker said the same thing. You walk past a bar, peep inside, good bunch of good-looking young guys dressed in a suit. That's what I saw in New York City, fucking sitting there in the bar drinking alone. So I don't know why people they do this again. We are not worthy Wayne's World thing. I would be shocked if I ever saw a good-looking guy with a woman. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, again, no, I don't think women like a sense of humor. No, well, how funny you are. Yeah, right. If you can have a woman in stitches, she's gonna like you. No. Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. Even if a good-looking guy gets with a girl, you can be sure that she will make him look less good with time. True life experience. Yeah. She's gonna if he's fit, she's gonna criticize him for the time he spends in the gym. What are you, narcissistic? Uh, she'll get him to wear fucking other colors, that don't make him look good, different whatever clothes. Again, is designed to make him look worse. Let's put it that way. You think again, what you don't understand the psychology. You think women want to be living in a constant state of trepidation, of fear that their boyfriend, husband, fiance, whatever, is going to be unfaithful, is going to be cheating on them behind their backs. No, they want to have security in this, knowing that if anybody does the cheating or the leaving, it's them, not the guy. And so in their minds, that means an unattractive or average guy. So ironically, it's those guys who often cheat or have options, move on, and dump the girl. And it's the good looking guys who are left with their dicks in their hands with no options. Again, this person's missing the point. I maintain that women are deliberately choosing men that they are not attracted to. It's not subconscious. Okay. You really underestimate women. They are very tactical. Okay. Very mercenary minded. They're not swept off their feet by Mr. Darcy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Somebody says I've had friends that were cute girls, and all of them have said the same thing. They would rather be with a guy less attractive than themselves because they felt an attractive guy would cheat on them. Yes, that's the logic. And I mean, you can't deny this when you have the male YouTubers, everybody. I mean, take your pick, Roosh, LFA, Face and Elmas, all these guys say the same thing, that the so-called Chads or Tyrones will make it across the races here because that's how we roll. We're inclusive here. Uh, that why would those guys be loyal? Why would they want to be in a monogamous relationship? I mean, you're asking that question. Why? I mean, I don't think it's again normal. Again, they all the talk about evolutionary biology. Oh, sperm's cheap. Yeah, sperm is cheap. You can't give cum away. You can't. What are you going to do? Stand on the street corner with a cup of jizz? Nobody wants your jizz. Nobody's going to pay for it either. Yeah, just be a sperm donor. These are the same people. Well, if you can't have children, you do have options. No, you don't. You have no options. Fucking retards. Do you know how difficult it is to become a sperm donor? Height requirements, education requirements, and that's the easy part. Then there's a personality assessment. Oh yeah, personality assessment. And like I said, the criteria that they are using to measure men, it's things like compassion, compassion for the smelly bum. Uh, do you read to little black children in the inner city? Do you teach them about Clifford the Big Red Dog? I like to volunteer at the soup kitchen. That's the fucking profiles. Okay, when women are lesbos, are perusing the sperm catalog. Okay, that's the write up. Okay, they have a fucking what is it biopic of each guy, and I guarantee you it isn't. Yeah, I'm a good writer. I'm very creative. I have patents. This that I'm a very accomplished. Here are my list of awards. It's going to the soup kitchen. Um, build humanity because you know uh, it's the white man's burden, and I don't like to be patronizing, but people in Haiti and Africa, they certainly can't be expected to build their own huts. Nope, nope, nope. I'm going to go there and do it for them. That's what they're looking for. Okay, the traits of a fucking dog, not even a good dog. Okay, like uh, a useless dog, not a hunting dog, not a sentry dog, not a dog for being a shepherd for the flock. These dogs actually have a purpose. They're good at something. Okay, whether it was to hunt foxes, bloodhounds to track, um, for protection, Doberman, Rottweilers, they go for a fucking companion dog, or a controllable dog, one that is very easily controlled. Has really no doesn't stick out all that much. He's just an average golden retriever, just an average labradoodle. Standing while white and proud, no shame. That poor Native American man I oppressed by smirking when he beat a drum in my face. That's what I'm talking about. Haven't you gotten the message? Women are not going for this. Uh, I don't know how to describe it. Some Benito Mussolini type, you know, on the balcony crossing his arms. Okay, look at the people's reactions, women's reactions, their visceral gut reactions to okay, and of course it had to have been a private school too. It's like on The Simpsons, Springfield Elementary. They go to this Civil War reenactment, and it's on this. The Principal Skinner has to give Otto a hose to siphon gas from the elite school's bus, and they have like a super like double decker bus with with pneumatic lifts. Um, bad, yeah. Optics. It's the kids in the Brooks Brothers suits being bussed in from their private school, and then you have the old toothless engine, fucking broken down wreck. Probably had a bottle of Thunderbird in his fucking poncho. Okay, yes, staring down an old toothless wounded knee wreck. Good optics. Get in the kitchen. That's. But again, who knows? Are these people aware of? I mean, that the fact that they're people ask, what can you do? What can you do? I would say stop widening the wedge. Stop driving that wedge between the genders, between the sexes ever more. Okay, and things that are divisive are stupid things like saying every kitchen should come with a woman. I mean, again, why don't you say something like cook together, go shopping together? Again, I don't know why you people would want to be in the 50s working for corporate America. You don't even see your own kids. You don't see your wife or who life companion. Let's put it that way. If you want to keep the legal system out of it, why do you want to be wed to your job, making shekels for? Oh, I'm a wealth manager. I want to make sure Mr. and Mrs. Finkelwitz can take cruises in their 80s and 90s. Fuck that. Let's get caught up here. Oh shit! Just bumps to the end. Bumps you to the end. Yeah, I mean, a lot of they do some of these documentaries. Um, I don't think it's ever in a sympathetic light, although when it does come to lonely men of other races or in other countries, it is sympathetic. Like I said, they ran, this is maybe a year and a half ago, they ran some story in China about, like matchmaking services, that they have a dearth of women. And it was very sympathetic. It gave a cameo or whatever of couple Chinese guys in their 20s or 30s. Oh, they're polite, well spoken, well groomed, and yet they don't have anybody. It was, of course, written by an Asian woman, uh, faithful to their race. So kudos there. Versus a portrait of an incel here in America, and it'll be like Homer Simpson and the babysitter bandit, and how they cut it, and you could see the clock hands moving, and he's like, "All I wanted was her sweet, sweet can." Okay, it gets edited to make you look bad. And people, again, when they say stuff like, "Oh, be masculine," who do you think is going to? And people say the weirdest things, like women dislike homosexual men. No, they love them. They love them. Uh, you think being a fruit is, oh, I don't want to come across as a little light in the loafers. That's what women like. You would get further with women wearing a fucking rainbow flag shirt, and when you know let them think you're gay, and then say, no, 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 I'm just a staunch ally of our gay brethren, of our LGBT brethren. I've co-founded the Gay Straight Alliance at my workplace. Okay, that's gonna go way further with women than being a Mike Pence. I don't like the gay, which is bullshit anyway. Who's that fruit that they're offering up to the UN? Who was the ambassador to Germany? And this is like a year ago when he got confirmed. And this fruit, this old fruit, had to put his cum covered hand, his AIDS cum covered hand, on this big Bible that was held by his longtime partner, and Pence did the confirming. So it's his beliefs have been vastly overplayed. You know, let my let my partner hold that Bible. I mean, it's kind of it's like the stonecutters with Homer taking the oath. And if he discloses anything of the stonecutters, let his head be plucked of all but 3 hairs. And Mo goes, I think you should have to take a different oath. Everybody takes the same oath. Let me just check the audio here. Yeah, so you would get further with a LGBT rainbow shirt. Uh, Let her think you're gay and then say, no, 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 I'm just a very good ally. Rather than being and you may be right. You may be absolutely right about the push to normalize homosexuality. You may be absolutely right. You start going off on that about the faggots, the fucking faggots. Women aren't going to respond well to that. Women love gay men. They do. And they especially eschew intolerant, bigoted, homophobic men. Let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, the people who echo the same things. Bad things. Idiocy seems to like bad news. They travel in packs. So yeah, the wall. Yeah, things about the wall. Women hitting the wall. More bullshit. Yeah, the halo effect. No, people like ugly people. They like to be made to feel better. Okay. Why do you think people like to be made to feel inadequate? Like somebody surrounds themselves with exceedingly tall people, then suddenly they feel short. Okay, it's the same thing. Like if you let a father pick males or dates or suitors for his daughter, you're gonna end up with fucking squirmy. Okay, because that the father is not like I said. As a father, you have a whatever age daughter, teenager, whatever. You want to be opening the door and you crane your little chicken neck up, uh, and it's this big strapping fellow. Oh, so I guess you're the one nailing my daughter, huh? No, you're gonna say, you know what, honey? I think he's a cheater. I heard things. I heard things about him, and he's up to no good. He's a dirty old hound dog. And you know what? There's a nice crippled boy, a nice gimper. Score one for the gimper. Okay, that's what they're gonna do. Coach Red Pill said you just have to be confident. Yeah, women love confidence. Yeah, jut out your jaw and have a real smug look on your face when you stare down some old drunken Arapaho Indian. I won this confrontation Indian. Same thing with a queer Negro. I don't like the news. These news stories are really, it's all kabuki theater designed to distract you. Again, just ask yourself, who do women resonate with? Who do they identify with more? The poor gay Negro getting whomped in the head didn't happen, but pretend it did. Even if it didn't happen, he had a good reason to fake it. Uh, Rather than say the people who allegedly beat him down, the ski mask wearing MAGA support, you homo. Which type of man do you think women identify with? The victim. Always the victim, the weak one, the perceived weak one. Not necessarily the weak one, the perceived weak one. Again, this has nothing to do with reality. You see all the time, say, white women with, in Germany, it's Turkish males. In the US, Canada, it's white women with Asian males. The perception that the women have of these males is that they're victims. They're weak. They're victims of whatever. Take your pick. Colonialism, white, yeah, white owned Hollywood, um, institutionalized racism. It's always poor Tuk Tuk's fault that he can't navigate the intricacies of Teutonic culture. But you notice when these relationships unravel. When do they unravel? It's when the sleight of build Asian male turns out not to be such a pushover. You mean he has expectations of you? His parents have expectations of you? Whoa, this is more than you signed up for. And that's when those relationships unravel. They break up, and maybe the Turk takes his Damascus sword and, you know, guts her like a fish. I don't know. That's when it happens. She didn't go with him because he was wielding his scimitar or whatever the fuck the Damascus curvy blade is called. Uh, no, she was with him because she felt sorry for him. He pulled on her heartstrings. It was only afterward that he became of the mad mullah of Munich that she decided to break it off with him. Okay, so 3P model: portrayal by the media, projection by the male, and perception by the female. Coach Red Pill, Mr. Bean. Yeah, you need to be a big, tough guy. Yeah, with high standards, right? Yeah, but somebody here says they're living off VA disability while helping take care of your with his elderly family living with them. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, why what the white person way of budding off like a coral polyp? Well, you're 18 now. Now you're out the door. And then you drift in the ocean currents like the little coral polyp you are. And then you have to start all over, start a new coral reef. Meanwhile, Asians got fucking 3 generations stacked up under one roof. Remember, turn your back on your family, but have empathy for a fucking broken down homeless wreck on the street that you don't know from Adam. Makes sense. Let's get caught up here. And again, so people ask, what can you do? What can you do? Well, again, things that don't help. Say this issue of legislation about abortion. I don't know, post-birth abortion, and it's held up as some unspeakable act, infanticide, like baby's coming out and you're trying to shove it back in so that you can still classify it as as pre-birth abortion. It's like, get back up in there. I gotta scramble your brains. You don't understand. It has nothing to do with the law. Okay, trying to change the law doesn't change the attitudes or the beliefs of people. The problem is not that this act is legal or illegal. The problem is why women are having these procedures done in the first place, why they're electing to do that. They're choosing to do that. Okay? Doesn't matter what the law is, legal, illegal, put restrictions on it. That's not the point. Again, you can put all the restrictions you want on whatever, it's still going to happen. You know, if you wanted to prevent people from, this is goes back to like the temperance movement, right? Calling for the outright prohibition of alcohol is not the solution. Okay, you need to change people's mindset. Okay, if you explain to them, if you try to, you know say, look, you're president at the time. Now the temperance movement goes back to the 1800s, and the motivation for that, basically women thought men were abusive while drunk, or they spent all their family's money. um, Calling for the prohibition of something doesn't remove the desire for it. So making abortion illegal, it's not really, you're just putting a band-aid on it. Okay, you've got an open sore and you're trying to put a band-aid on it. You got to ask yourself, why are you shouldn't have to make illegal these things. Okay, in a normal healthy society, no one would be wanting to kill their own children. All right, that wouldn't happen. So you've got to go deeper, you've got to dig deeper. Getting caught up here with the comments. And again, they trot out these claims about, well, the family court system paying child support. Again, should such a thing be mandated? Again, in a sane or healthy society, there'd be no need for court mandated maintenance of children. A guy would feel compelled. He would, yeah, they're my children too. You do not need to specify how much money I will give to my children. My children are my first and primary concern. I will make sure they have all their needs seen to, you know, and instead of saying, I'm not paying for my fucking kids. Yeah, this idea of masculinity being somehow helpful in getting women. I think these guys have been watching The Revenant too many times. Guy gets fucking mauled by a bear or something, and all these other things happen to him. That doesn't. That movie may speak to men. It certainly doesn't speak to women. Absolutely not. Yeah, that is. It's again perception. Perception or portrayal by the media. It's not flattering of Americans. We see this especially as pertains to, say, family values. What do we see? It's mocked. I mean, it's ridiculed. The Simpsons. Uh, Grandpa Simpson gets dumped in the old folks' home, right? Um, the story goes Homer got the down payment or the money for his house from his father, and he invited his father to stay with him. And then uh, the kids ask, "So how long until you?" Bart goes, "So how long until you ship Grandpa off to the old folks' home?" About 3 weeks, and then the kids all laugh. And then remember, Homer goes to Bart, "Remember our agreement? Um, Once you're 18, you're out the door." That's the perception or the portrayal by the media, and it doesn't help when some people embrace that. Like they say, "Yeah, I don't care about my family. I haven't told." You got these people, they're what's the term? Not on speaking terms with their family. They say weird things like Aaron Clary, like, "Don't help out your parents, but make sure to pay your shekel fees." Oh, you took out a student loan? Oh, you signed the promissory note? Oh, you signed in blood, but somehow when it comes to, your blood relatives, oh, fuck them, fuck them. And again, what is the portrayal of Asians? Well, filial piety. Again, may not be true. May not be true. Lots of the Asians I knew, they had kind of fucked up childhoods. They were dumped with their grandparents, had very little interaction with their parents, who were themselves very career driven to the point of neglect, neglecting their own kids, dumping their children for extended periods of time with the kids' grandparents. Sometimes, especially the very successful, ultra successful Asians, they get fucking shipped abroad to a boarding school starting at age 13 or 14. These people basically stop having anything to do with their parents at a very young age. Okay, I mean, to me, it's insane to think, well, you're going to Hogwarts boarding school at age 14. Like, I remember coming home with my family every day when I was in high school. Um, yeah, and it makes you feel, what's the point of all this self-improvement rubbish? You go to all this hard work, working out healthy, eating, looking good, and you walk down the street and you see some skinny below average guy with a hottie. Yep, there's it is certainly frustrating. It's you have you've done all of these things that you thought were going to improve your success with dating or with women, and lo and behold, not only has it's gotten worse. In point of fact, it's not unchanged, it's gotten worse. The more you've done, the less success has come your way. Yeah, the 68 revolution messed everything up. Oh, it's pretty much those same people are still in charge 50 years later. I mean, it's true. I mean, look at these different countries. Trump is a baby boomer. Hillary Clinton was a baby boomer, 46, 47. Same people who were, student demonstrators or members of the Students for Democratic Society, they're still in power 50 years on. I told you the baby boomers have had influence for a very long time. But again, you can't paint with a wide brush. A lot of that hippie culture was good. Rejection of consumerism, rejection of militarism. Okay. So one thing to defend your country. It's a different matter to launch on launch yourself into the middle of a civil war in some other country's dealings. Vietnam, yeah. Go into the fucking mangroves. Stick out like a sore thumb. some 6 foot, some 6'4" American guy. He's like putting a twig on his head. Oh, am I camouflaged? No, stupid. You stick out like a sore thumb. You're going to be shot by the Viet Cong real soon. And I think we're caught up. That's good. Uh, yeah, I mean they still do. They say they make girls think that having a baby is the worst possible blight on their lives, bar none. Oh yeah, it's all the hysteria about teenage pregnancy, like it was a terminal illness. Oh my God, you're pregnant. Why don't you think about your future? You mean like having children? It's like, wow, can you that's a weird thing to say to your own kid. It's like I've seen parents bring their kids to a pro-abortion rally, or they're like having a table set up like to sign petitions or some shit, and they got their kid there. It's a woman with her daughter, like, and her daughter's like 6 years old. Isn't this bizarre? You're advocating abortion rights, and you brought your daughter there. I mean, I feel, feel like saying, "Mommy didn't want you," into the kid's face. Uh, it's still regarded as like the worst thing that can befall a woman: early pregnancy before the age of 37. But let me see here. I don't know if I buy that stat about so many black abortions happening, because have you noticed, like, black families, they stick by their kids. Like, the kid, I mean, it could be the kid, and I say kid, child, son. Like, he's 18, 25, 30, whatever. He commits some crime. I mean, he's fucking caught on camera, reaching into his waistband. Like, it's caught on the dash cam, or body cam. It's clear as day. He was trying to kill that cop, and the parents still stand by him. They're like, there was no need to kill our son. And white parents, they don't. Their kid gets fucking offered up to Moloch, Molly Tibbet style, left to rot into a puddle in a cornfield, and the response is, "Ha, Mexicans are like Iowans, but with better, spicier food." That one, you don't see that type of tepid response from the black mothers, or if cop shoots their son or whatever, they are, they're out for blood. But white people are, yeah, we understand why you killed our son. Hey, it happens, officer. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? That's the white response. If the cops pump, you know, 20 rounds into some white guy, which does happen. It does happen if, oh, I thought he was reaching for something. And they're screaming conflicting orders. Drop it. Put your hands up. Get on the ground. Put your hands behind your back. Well, which one do you want me to do, fucker? So it does happen. And what is the response? Do you see riots? Do you see that guy's parents on TVs calling for the head, or at least the dismissal of that off for the officers involved, for the Peckerwood cops involved? No, they just take it. Yeah, you killed our son. It happens. It happens, officer. Thank you for protecting us. So I don't know if I buy that half of all black pregnancies end in abortion. I don't know. They seem to stick by their kids through thick and thin. I mean, they may not be good parents. They may not provide financially, et cetera, or guidance, but you see it when it's like in trouble with the law. They blame the law, and rightly so. Only white parents are like, listen to teacher. That's the problem. You're not dealing with teachers born in the 30s. You're dealing with teachers who are younger than me. You're dealing with teachers born in the 90s who are, their heads are fucking cooked with all of that leftist thinking, with that leftist ideology. And you want your kids to thoughtlessly listen to teacher? You're not dealing with good teachers, born in the silent generation like what I had. You're dealing with young ditzes. And I don't know, like they used to have those babies, like those dolls that looked like a baby that like in home ec or consumer ed. It was like, I don't know, like being given a chicken egg and you had to make sure you didn't break it for a week. But these were like animatronic, lifelike dolls. It would like cry and stuff, and it would log whether, it had like an accelerometer inside, so it would detect if you had, smacked the kid around, the doll around. Um, and you would get like a grade based on, if your baby survived or not. I guess they still have those, but to my knowledge, they didn't have them in my high school. I think they got rid of that home ec curriculum entirely. Now, probably makes sense if both sexes received that training, right? I mean, like in health class, right? I mean, it would probably make sense in a sane society that both men and women would know how to keep a baby alive. I mean, that's kind of why you're here, right, on the planet. But I mean, okay, so again, people will dismiss it, say it's women's work. Ah, it probably would be a good idea to know some basic shit as a man when it comes to the baby. How not to give it sudden infant death syndrome, something like that. Um, and instead, no, 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 ignore that. Just focus on surrogate activities. Uh, did you take the uh, Calc 2? Did you take AP Physics? None of this is helping you fucking reproduce. Okay, you're going to be a highly credentialed, highly degreed, nominally successful, sterile person at age 35, sitting there with his wiener in his hand. Maybe that home ec would have behooved you a lot more than whatever series of courses in your rigorous STEM discipline served you. Don't need that baby rearing knowledge. Get that big white noggin to work. Got some code to write. Yeah, I mean that is true. American men just want to learn how to fix a transmission and mow a useless front lawn. Yeah, I mean these things don't matter. These are superficial things. And the conservatives, the nominally conservative, they're no better. What was that? What did Trump celebrate? What did he point out in the State of the Union address? Something. More women are in the workforce than ever. 70% of the jobs created in the past year have gone to women. Um, and we need more affordable daycare. Oh, yeah, just chuck your kid with Rosita. I'm sure she cares whether your white baby survives or not. Just drop them off. 2 months, 3 months old, whatever. Just drop them off at daycare. Go do those corporate reports, those corporate filings. But, men are really no better. I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, you earn money to get by. It's another to delve into the deep side of the swimming pool and not come up. Like you're so wed to your career, like you're neglecting your family. I don't want to see my kids. Well, fuck them. Fuck them. I'm busy putting a roof over your head. Yeah, it's sometimes people make excuses. Like if the person travels a lot, nobody put a gun to your head saying you have to take a job that requires you to be away from your family. You chose that. I mean, you probably could have found maybe a less lucrative job, but it didn't require any travel. You like staying in hotels and having that nomadic lifestyle. So they come up with excuses. But why would you not want to spend time with your family? You want to spend more time at the office? Again, for what? Managing the portfolio for Mr. and Mrs. Finkelwitz so they can go on their Viking cruise. Some of these accounts are definitely designed to troll. And I have Negro viewers, and when I use slurs and that, I don't think they know that there's no intent to, what is a term, exploit on my part. You want to talk exploitation, you go to the emerald mines, Elon Musk's father in South Africa, lowering little black children in buckets 4 miles into the maw of the earth to dig for gems and emeralds in 150 degrees heat. Same thing with the South. Again, who's to blame, right? It's the sort of like the wealthy, the well-to-do people today who are for immigration. Now, we're not bringing them here shackled to a ship. They are coming by their own volition. But it's the same people, the wealthy, the ultra elite who want, people. The equivalent of the plantation owners are the tech people, Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. These people are the equivalent of the Southern aristocratic genteel type. Uh, Too cheap to employ whites to pick cotton and fucking over the poor whites in their pursuit of profit. Every so often, a slave insurrection would happen. Uh-oh. And the blacks will go on a rampage and kill every white they could find, whether they were plantation owners or not. So just like just like today, um, the elite are for open borders, immigration, bringing in foreigners to fuck over the poor indigenous people, the poor middle class Americans. Doesn't matter to them. They're looking for profit. They're insulated from their actions. Their children go to private schools. So, for all the talk of the big white noggin, attack of the big white noggin, you had what? The steam engine invented by what? Thomas Newcomen, improved by James Watt, early 1800s. I mean, there's no excuse to have continued to rely on manual labor. Again, if you want to pull the big white noggin card, you've got to come up with, an improved method. Cyrus McCormick, the Reaper. Uh, so anyway, let me continue here. Yep. Somebody says many of the rich whites in the South during the Civil War were Jews. Yeah, the Secretary of the Treasury for the Confederacy was Jewish, who sent, yep, German and Anglo poor whites to go fight on their behalf so they could continue owning blacks. Well, also of the Union, something like one third of the Union Army was composed of fresh off the boat immigrants from Germany or Ireland. That's what started the draft riots, right? The Irish, fresh off the boat, are told they have to go die to free Negroes. I don't think that's why they came to America to get their face shot off with, grape shot. Yep, Judah Benjamin. I think he skipped town at the end of the war with what remained. Well, I think the Confederacy money was useless. I think he escaped with gold or whatever, and he escaped to the Caribbean. But anyway, that's what I mean. I think this has gone on long enough. Let's see here. Yeah, an interesting fact is that the UK offered the Confederacy assistance in the war with the requirement that the Confederacy have a centralized banking system. Yeah, I think the UK was pretty dependent on the South for its textile industry, for the cotton. So I think they kind of allied themselves a little tangentially with the Confederacy or nominally, but it wasn't really effective because the Union had a blockade set up. And aside from blockade runners, it was the Confederacy was pretty much cut off. Yeah, Malcolm X and George Lincoln Rockwell got along. They attended each other's talks, rallies, etc. Uh, they didn't like the internationalists like Martin Luther King, or the white internationalists for that matter. Let me get caught up here. But I think I've covered what I wanted to say. Now people ask, well, what can you do? What can you do? Again, how can you lash out at one thing when it surrounds you entirely? It's like a miasma. It's all around you. I would say the worst thing you can do is just that 3P model. Work on your what you're projecting. And when people are saying stupid shit like women need to be under the restraint of a father, look at these fathers. Look at the average father. You want that schlub to be in charge of dating choices? Like I said, if you do that, it's going to be nothing but snail people. Okay, you think a father wants to betroth his daughter to somebody, to a man that puts him to shame? That's more masculine, more of a man, whatever, more accomplished than he is? No. No. Now, that may be good for his daughter, but it's bad for him. It's bad for his ego. So he's gonna like I said, poison her ear and betroth her to the little gimp in a wheelchair. So saying stuff like that, not not useful. Staring down broken down toothless engines, not helpful as you get off of your plush luxury double decker bus that busts you in from the private school. I, I came. What is it? I've come here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. I came here to see the Washington Monument and stare down engines, and I have seen all the monuments. Yeah, exactly. There's no left and right in this country. You have the actual left and the fake right. That's what you have. So, yeah, somebody says here the country is the left and the far left. Yeah, you have the true left and the fake right. This paper dragon or this little that's they're like what do you call it? The Washington Generals to the Harlem Globetrotters. They're just a foil set up to lose, and they like losing. They have a shit-eating grin. John Boehner, Paul Ryan, all these people. Yeah, oh shucks, I tried. Ah shucks. Yeah, the so-called conservatives. It's they never act. They just react. They never try to shape anything like the left does. The left actually has an ideology. They want to see some change wrought on the world. The so-called people on the right, they don't have a collective vision. They're less taxes. Let me just work and make widgets and sell them abroad to build up other countries' economies. I won't think about the consequences of my actions, but um, small government. Okay. I am the state, the Sun King. Le était c'est moi, right? I am the state. Louis the 14th, the Sun King. Yeah, let me see. Fuck. Drop my red line. How does this go? Is that it? Something like that. I am the state. Divine right of kings. Oh yeah, monarchy. It would be so oppressive, right? It'd be so horrible. It's so good we live in a democracy. There's no oppression under a rule of the masses. Well, that's what the majority of people wanted, so I guess we're going with it. Yeah, the right wing men think they're defending a line in the sand when the bully has already crossed the line. Oh, they haven't just crossed. The bully hasn't just crossed the line. They've punched in the gut the right wing man and rubbed his face in the sand and then kicked sand in his face. Mm. Yeah, anarcho-capitalism, the cry of the libertarian. They can't suck Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk's cock enough. Well, he has a right to amass $200 billion and destabilize governments. He's earned that right through hard work and gumption. You're just lazy. You're just jealous. And these are the same people who kvetch and bleat about what George Soros doing exactly that, destabilizing countries, funding boats, inflatable zodiac rafts. Like, not every rich person just gets on a yacht and sails into, the sunset. There are, it doesn't occur to you that people with money, they can put it to whatever use they want. If they just want to, they're a malevolent prick, and they just want to destabilize things. They want to cause problems, or maybe they have an actual agenda that they want to put into effect. These libertarians will say, well, that's their right to destabilize and influence. That's the that's their right to do with their wealth. So which one is it? Do you gripe and bitch about these billionaires having, lots of influence to, not just influence, destabilize, but usurp power? You're defending the right of people to accrue so much wealth and influence and power that it is a threat to democracy or to, whatever system of government you have. But let's see here. Yeah, so I think the worst thing you can do is try to harken back to something that never even existed. I mean, when you try to, discount dating, no, the problem is that there is no dating. There is no dating anymore. Dating is getting to know somebody before you before you fuck. Um, and that's too protracted. It takes too much time, to get to know somebody. That's time you could be putting in developing your career. You could be crafting your resume. You could be working on your LinkedIn profile. Why would you waste time dating? You can just have it efficiently with an app, right? Just hook up. It's more efficient that way. It allows you to focus on the important things in life, right? So, you know, even this weird false machismo or bravado. Oh, women do the cooking. Ha ha ha. Make me a sandwich. Like a man in whatever earlier era, Victorian England or fucking Puritan England or Puritan America, the man wasn't, some oppressive, wife beater. Like, I mean, this is what you're trying to portray. No, they would be insulted. They'd probably challenge you to a duel if you ever suggested such a thing, that they treat their wife or life companion like that. They would be indignant. Uh, they saw it more as a partnership. Uh, so a lot of these people they just dig their hole deeper. They dig the hole deeper, is what I'm saying. And are they doing it deliberately? I don't know. I mean, some of these people are older than I am. You would think they would know better, and they don't seem to realize they're just making their predicament worse. Okay, they're just making it worse. But again, I'm always suspicious of anybody who derives their livelihood from derives their livelihood from what is the term? Complaining about the present day situation. This could be newscasters, authors, radio hosts, whatever. Take your pick. Ann Coulter, Rush Limbaugh, anybody who makes their living off of the suffering, and that's what it is, the suffering and misery of others. You think they actually want to see change? You think, whatever, take your pick, little toupee wearing Tucker Carlson. Uh, you think he's sincere? He would be out of a job if meaningful change was actually affected. Do you think people, say Trump was pushing his agenda banging on all cylinders, he was getting everything he wanted? Nobody would be tuning in to Rush Limbaugh. Nobody would be tuning in to Tucker Carlson. Nobody would be Ann Coulter, who? Nobody would be reading her fucking articles. Okay? The same thing with Jared Taylor, American Renaissance. They have become dependent. It's like a parasite. They've become dependent on the status quo. They've become it's like a tick. So instead of sucking on blood, they suck on misery. They've become financially dependent on complaining, um, being angry, being indignant. Yeah, and if things were coming up roses, they would be out of a job, or their viewership would drop from 20 million to 500,000, something like that. They would be off the air. So you always have to be wary of somebody whose financial livelihood is tied up in this. It's intertwined. It's intertwined. Uh, and so you have to kind of, you know, be skeptical. How can this person be sincere when if he were to actually make progress or he were to realize his goals, he would be bankrupted. Now, for a few people, maybe they're willing to sleep on a park bench if they could alakazam have everything granted socially and politically. Most people, I don't see that, especially not the very wealthy, affluent ones. Okay, they're living in comfort. They're living a very nice, comfortable lifestyle. So they're just actors. They're actors playing it up, playing it that they're indignant about this or that. Because if they were uh, if they were to be successful, if they were to witness or see uh, come to pass what they claim they want to see, they'd be out of a job. So I think I've been going long enough, and I'm gonna end the stream here.